Hello once again. So it's been about 2.5 months at this point since the last random vlog I did, where I talked about the home server, had just set it up. And I figured that today is a good time to do sort of an update vlog on the home server and what I've been using it for. So, first thing I want to mention real quick, just take a look at my dashboard here. As you can see, the home server is currently drawing about 1.3 watts, using about 20% of the RAM. Now, I've gotten a few electricity bills since setting up the home server, and its effect on my electricity bill, the impact, has been pretty much negligible. So it turns out that the roughly watts and a half power draw on average has been pretty consistent, judging by the fact that my electricity bills haven't gone up much. So yeah, that's pretty cool. As for the actual use cases of the home server, let me just open up files over here. So as you can see, I have a little Doom folder here with a few subdirectories for like the WADs I've made, the MIDIs, the demos that I record for the SDA, and some source port config files. So that was actually pretty much the first thing that I did for the home server, sort of like a backup system for some files. Going into the media folder here and music. And that's all of my music library in there. About 30 gigabytes worth. So back when I made that last random vlog, I did talk about wanting to host my music library on the home server. Free up the space from the main PC that way. Now I do still have the music library also on the desktop PC locally for the time being. Like the home server is essentially acting as a backup for that. But yeah, in any case. As for the apps I'm using, not a whole lot, just Home Assistant and Jellyfin for now. Now my original thinking with Home Assistant, back when I installed it, was I was gonna use it to configure it with my Philips Hue light, set it up for that, control it from the home server that way. Unfortunately, it turns out you kinda need the Philips Hue bridge to be able to do that, which I don't have. I only have a single Hue light, and it's like plugged into a smart plug over here. So yeah, wasn't able to configure Home Assistant for that. Basically barely using it now. Could just safely uninstall that at this point. Free up the resources from the server that way. Just haven't gotten around to it yet. Now Jellyfin, on the other hand, actually just installed that the other day. And that, if I open up the dashboard here, that's essentially hosting my music library at the moment, acting as the playback system. Or well, I wouldn't really say it's acting as my main playback system just yet. Mostly I've just been testing it out. But yeah, got Jellyfin running on the server. Hosting my music library, like I said. Love the interface. And it looks to work pretty well from what testing I've done so far. Has all of the music playback functionality that I'd wish for in like a music player. Only minor issue I've run into so far. Let's see if I go into, for instance, who the fuck is Jenny Beth? I don't recall having this in my music library. Anyway, where is it? There. So if I look at MFG38, for instance, which is obviously me. So the only minor issue that I've run into with Jellyfin so far is that it doesn't seem to index like singles properly. Like, obviously it lists all of my albums over here, which is all fine and good. But if we look back at the file system, go into the respective subdirectory here. So there's two basically like loose MP3 files also in there, like single tracks. We have all of the subfolders for the subdirectories, I mean, for all of the albums. And all of the respective song metadata. Like, no complaints on that front. Jellyfin displays those perfectly. But I'm not seeing the two single tracks anywhere At least not on this page. It does list them if I go like into songs over here. There. Those tracks will show up on this list. But not on not on the artist page. But it still looks to like play the single tracks. Like it still plays those back. As long as I like skip into them or whatnot. So them not showing up on the artist page, ultimately just a minor inconvenience. But yeah, other than that, loving Jellyfin so far. Cool interface. Playback works more or less flawlessly. I can shuffle my entire music library, play it that way, or I can play like just a single album or track. So yeah, wonderful work, Jellyfin devs. I applaud you. Just, yeah, if there would be a way to somehow index the singles so that they show up on the artist pages, would appreciate that greatly. But again, minor inconvenience, not too fussed about it. But yeah. Most likely gonna transition over to Jellyfin as like my so-called full-time music player at some point. So yeah. I mean, that's basically the state of the home server in a nutshell. As of today. Basically been using it as a file backup system. Plus, it's also running Jellyfin. As of like really just a couple of days ago. The installation is really that fresh. Anyway, on that note, that concludes today's random vlog. So, bye bye.